Hi, I'm PoChu AuYeung. I'm the senior programmer at the Vancouver International Film Festival. We're very pleased to have the director for the film Souad, Ayten Amin, who's joining us from Cairo for a conversation. Souad was chosen as part of the Cannes Film Selection in 2020 last year. And of course, the festival did not happen. But the film was screened at the online Berlin Film Festival in February, and that's where I saw it. And now, please join me in welcoming Ayten Amin from Cairo. Hi, Ayten.
Hi. Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I know it's very late in Cairo now, so thank you very much for joining us. Ayten, I just want to ask, this is the film that deals with the double lives of these two sisters, both in the teenage years. One of their lives very much abide by the expectations of the family and religion, and then the other life is the life with the friends and with the online world of social media. So I'm just curious, what inspired you to make a film, your second feature, on this topic?
Yeah, well, it sort of got developed organically. And the idea at the beginning was inspired by a childhood incident that happened to one of my friends at school with her sister. So this is how it all started. This was the main idea. And then I started working with my co-writer, Mahmoud Izzat. Mahmoud was a sort of influencer. He's like a very well-known poet in Egypt. And he has like thousands of followers on Twitter. So when I started to talk to him about the story of the film, I was telling him that I want to tell the story of these two sisters who live outside of Cairo in a small city, and their relationship with an influencer, especially the older sister's relationship with him. So it started from here that we had like this file with all of his followers, because he had a lot of followers, a lot of young women and girls from small cities. And we had this folder, and we started talking to them either online, or they came to Cairo for a day to meet us. And during those conversations, each one of them was like for 3 or 4 hours, we talked to her. And from these conversations about their lives, we started writing the first draft of the script. So actually, it was like this idea that was sparked in me, and then Mahmoud developed it with me. And during the research, we started getting into the social media topic and those girls, their lives, the details of how they are affected by the social media. So it started like this.
So I assume that what they are going through is quite different than what you went through when you at that age. Do you see a big difference for your adolescence and the experience?
It's sort of different, but still the same. It's different because I didn't have social media when I was growing up. When I was a teenager, there was no social media. But at the same time, there's something very similar that I could identify with those girls, and that is the way that you pretend every day just to be accepted and to get by, and the pretension and the lies. I know this quite well. I know it from when I was a teenager, and I still know it now as a woman living in Cairo. So it's actually, although we seem to live very different lives, but at the same time, I do feel so much similarities between us, and I could understand very well the duality they have, the complexities that in their character, because they sort of have a double personality, and I think we all here have this double personality. So actually, there's something similar between us.
And would you think, in terms of the pop, there's kind of with a dependency on the social media, right, for their social life. Is that kind of representative, do you think, of, you know, the young generation now in your country, or actually in the world? Or that's more common to people like them who are from their socio-economic background, like in a smaller town and, you know, from a working class background?
I think, of course, the social media plays a big role now in our lives, and I think it changed us as human beings. We're not the same. We were not equipped to get all of this information and to know all of this about all of the people, all the other people. So I think it really has an effect on all of us. But at the same time, the difference with them is that the effect of social media is a bit different because, you know, it's kind of a fake freedom. So they have this space where they can be themselves in a certain way, or they can pretend to be other and have virtual relationships with guys that they never met. And at the same time, they still live their daily lives in their conservative society in a reserved way. So it's different than what they're trying to portray on social media. So I think it's the difference is in this, because I think it adds to their anxiety and depression. Because they depend, of course, on it, because it's like a high on the day. It's their high. So this is the way they are affected, specifically in these small cities.
And when you show, you know, in the third part, right, when you took us to Alexandria, when the sister met with the social influencer, it gives a feeling that it's kind of, at that place, there's more openness, you know, because, you know, and it seems to be, so is that the case that, you know, like there's sort of difference, regional difference in terms of a more open and less conservative in Alexandria?
Of course, there are differences between the cities, and of course Alexandria is much more open than Zaazee. But at the same time, you know, you're facing the same problems in a different way, because Ahmed he has the same identity problem as Souad. You know, it's not that different. It's just he's also pretending and he's lying and he has a double life. It's the same, but it seems more open. But at the same time, he has his own rules. He has the things that he has to conform with. And he has this relationship with the other girl, and who comes from a much better social class than he is. So, for example, he would never get into a serious relationship with Souad or marry her or whatever. But he would, of course, with the other girl, because for him, marriage is a social climbing, and this is very common here. That's the norm here. Yeah, people marry to become better socially. So actually, it's a more open city, but برضو it's superficial. The open, it's just superficial. At the core, it's the same.
Yeah, that's what interesting, that you're able to show both the male characters and the female characters. They're also living under that kind of constraint and having to have this kind of double lives, you know, duplicity in their lives, you know, to navigate, you know, the family and the careers. And so let's talk a bit about, the casting is terrific, you know, they're able to bring out this sort of nuance and complexity, you know, of their lives. And so would you mind telling us if these actors are professional or are non-professionals?
They're all non-professionals. They're all non-actors. It's all of them. It's their first time. And actually, this was part of the film, because when I started the casting, I didn't want to cast actors or people who want to act. I wanted to cast girls and guys who come from a similar background in a way, and they're not from Cairo. And at the same time, I wanted this authenticity. I wanted something, their input in the character. I didn't want actors to play roles. I wanted to get real girls with their real experiences, where their input will be added in the film, and this is what happened. So a big part of the film is due to those girls' generosity, because they were very generous and they shared a lot and they were very vulnerable when we were working. So actually we owe them a lot.
And do they need to get permission from the parents to act?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, we had permission of their parents, of course. Especially Basmala, the young one, she's underage. She was 13 when we started working. So of course we had their approval, and they knew what the film was about.
And the dialogue seems very natural. It's almost like they're real sisters and exchanging their, talking that way. So how much do you allow them to improvise some of their dialogue?
So it's like مثلا 60 to 70% written and 30% is improvised. So we have a written script and we have a written dialogue. Most of the dialogue actually is written, but at the same time, they knew that we had the freedom to change and the freedom to say. They know that they must say this part of the dialogue, but at the same time, the way that we reach this part of the dialogue, they're totally free in how we do this. So when we were doing the takes, because the camera was rolling all the time, we were trying out different things. So even the takes were not identical at all. Each take we would improvise and change, and maybe we have the same dialogue, but we changed some stuff before it or after it. So this is how we worked. And also in the rehearsals, because we had like 5 months of rehearsals, and at the time they did not read the script. They just had ideas of the scenes. So we were like improvising all the time in the rehearsals, and I was shooting with my mobile, and I used to go back to Cairo to Mahmoud, the writer, where he was where he watched the videos and started rewriting the scenes according to what was happening in the rehearsals.
Well, that's interesting. You were shooting with your mobile phone for some of the scenes.
Not in the scenes, in the rehearsals.
Oh, in the rehearsal for the okay.
In the rehearsals, no. And the scenes, no.
Because I do find that the film does have a sort of documentary feel. The way it's shot, it has that immediacy.
Yeah.
And and the other thing I want to ask is if the film has been released already in Egypt. I mean, with COVID, I guess it's difficult. So was it being shown online, or what kind of public exposure the film has in Egypt?
No, not yet. It's by the end of the year. It should be released by the end of the year, but not yet. We did like test screenings for girls from similar backgrounds as Souad, and this is what we did. But till now, no, it has not been shown or screened here.
Do you anticipate any kind of controversy when the film is shown? Because you do have midway of the film, right? The incident, could be pretty shocking,
Yeah.
And so I'm just sort of curious, what kind of reception you will expect, and would it be shown in an art house theater, or?
It will be released in art house theaters, but in other theaters as well. But it will not be like a big release. It will be, of course, in limited screens. But I think it will have it will create a lot of discussions, I'm sure, and a lot of controversy, I guess. But I'm curious as well. I don't know how people will react. I'm sure that the girls will love it, because the test screenings went really very well, and they were very touched by the film. They cried in a lot of scenes, and they even cried in scenes where I didn't think they would cry at all, because they were scenes like she was talking to him over the phone, and I think they were crying just because they saw themselves on screens, because they do this all the time. So we'll see.
And were the girls' parents invited to the test screening?
No, not yet. But they watched. One of them watched with her parents. The other one, not yet.
And do you think the girls, they would want to become? Not actors, but do they think that this will inspire them to continue an acting career?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they want to do this again because they enjoyed the experience very much, and I think that they want to pursue a career in acting. I hope that they do because, of course, the way we work here, it's different, and we have like all of commercial TV and cinema, and they're a bit different than that because that's like most of the people in our commercial TV and cinemas, they are like models, so they do not fit in this criteria. But at the same time, I hope that they give them a chance because they're very good actors.
And I know you're very busy because I know you're in pre-production now. And would you mind telling us, is it going to be a feature film? Because I understand before this, you make a TV series.
Yeah.
So is your current project a feature film or is it a TV series?
It's a TV series. It's with Netflix. It's 3 episodes. I'm working on 3 episodes and directing 3 episodes. So, I have a parallel career on TV. I made a TV series before that was a big hit here. And I'm currently working on another TV series. I have a project, a feature film project with Mahmoud as well, my co-writer. We started writing, but we're still working on the treatment. So it's for me like TV. I do it for people for but cinema, it's the films that I want to make, my films.
And also do with the young generation in your TV series that you work
Yeah, it's actually about teenagers. It's actually about teenagers as well, but in a very niche other place. But it's like they have something similar with Souad. It's like they're also glued to their phone and they have a secret life. It's the same but different.
And it's not many censorship on like the kind of content on social media. You would have some kind of censorship for films, right? Before you can release a film.
Censorship for films and TV series, of course, we have. But on social media, we don't have censorship. So that's why you see a lot of content videos and stuff. It's we don't have censorship over this. Of course, no, all of the TV series and films, it's we have like the approval of the censorship when we have the script, so it's on paper at the beginning, and then when we shoot, they go back and watch it to make sure that we shot what they agreed on.
Yeah, and in Egypt, where you live in Cairo, do you have many foreign films, international films playing? I attended the Cairo Film Festival a long time ago. But I'm just in terms of, the art house theater, were you able to show a lot of films that have shown in other international festivals?
Yeah, we have one art house theater actually. So yeah, it's good that we have it now because we didn't before. But we have one, and we have like the festival, and we have something like it's made every year for the European films. It's something like a panorama for European films. So it's on selected screens. That's it. But foreign films, they do not get released here, except of course American films. The American films are always released here. But the other foreign films, no.
So the American films, were the content being censored before they can be shown in the theaters?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah. So, this is, my last question. With the 10 years now after the Arab Spring in 2011, right? So I was just wondering that, have there many things changes in the country since that time?
Yeah, a lot of things changed, of course. I don't think we live the same life as we did before. But at the same time, it's still, I cannot say that I have a precise idea. I'm very opinionated about what's happening now because I'm not actually, I'm still processing what's happening because it's changing every day. So we'll see. Maybe in the next 2 years, I'll have a more solid opinion.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Ayten. And I would, I know it's very late, in Cairo. So I let you get back to have some rest from your day of prepping for your new series. Thank you, and all the best with your next project.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.